Welcome to the Digital Dream Out the Ground podcast. It is your host, Austin Lee, joined with the co-host of the most, Cortez Branch Jr. out of Chicago. As you can see, we are decked out with the straps because it is Wrestlemania Night 1 tonight. Let me start off with ask my, actually, let's get right into it. If we're okay with it, let's get right into it. Match card, I'm going to read it top to bottom. Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title. Shocking that that's first, but hey, War Raiders versus New Day for the World Tag Team Championship. Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Jade versus Naomi. LA Knight versus Jacob Fowler for U.S. Championship. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's Championship. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins as the main event for night one. Talk to me. What
Well,
are you looking for?
let's start with Jey Uso versus Gunther.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's been pretty well laid out that Jey Uso is going to win this match.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that there's any chance that he doesn't. Um, other than I think it's a 1% chance that he doesn't win the match, and I don't think that if he does lose the match, he doesn't lose it clean. Um, I think that's all we got for that one because we've been talking about this for like 6 months.
We have been. I've been on top
Like
of the show, man.
we called this before it ever became a thing. We called Jey Uso at WrestleMania. So I think the next match after that was Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, the next big match, I guess.
Well, yeah, you got Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Here's the thing about El Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio got injured last night on SmackDown. They don't know how serious the injury is. WWE hasn't said anything, but like Ray didn't finish the match.
Yeah.
And even while Ray Phoenix and Dragon Lee were celebrating, they realized that Ray was still on the ground, and they went out there to go help him. They didn't even celebrate in the ring for winning, and it was pretty noticeable. They were all freaking out about it. Like um, they were down there for several minutes. The camera never cut back to Ray, and then they went off air for a little bit to let Ray get to the back. And they said he had a lot of help, and there's fan videos of people posting Ray getting help to the back. So, prayers go out to Rey Mysterio as far as like his health, and hopefully it's not a serious injury. Hopefully it's not an injury at all. Maybe he just tweaked something, or hopefully it doesn't hold him back. I know it sucks to miss WrestleMania, but there are people that can step in. Rusev and Lana have been spotted in Las Vegas. Rusev did sign a new contract yesterday, and that was out there. So there's a possibility for him to replace that guy. There's also a couple of different people that haven't debuted yet that we've been waiting on a debut, like Aleister Black, who could step in. But if you're gonna do the Lucha versus Lucha thing, you'd have to go somebody like Ray Phoenix because he wasn't on the card. You could probably throw him in there and put him on the card, especially because he was in the match where it happened at.
Yeah.
It would make sense. I wouldn't really give it to Dragon Lee. I feel like if you gave it to Dragon Lee, it would be more of a popcorn match. The only thing that it is you can't let Grand Americano win now. I'm pretty sure he was going to go over on Ray, so you can't let him win now if he faces Phoenix. So they got a dilemma there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw El Idolo in there, but once again, there's no stakes. You know what I mean? It has to be some stakes involved for people to be invested in WrestleMania matches. Who's next? It's not the women's world title, is it?
No, basically, let me actually read it. It's actually the one we glossed over is actually the War Raiders versus New Day for the World Tag Team title.
New Day's taking that title again.
Yep. And with a new
Yeah.
heel turn, what are you expecting? I mean, for this match? I mean, what do you kind of, what are you looking forward to? Because I'm looking forward
Uh,
to
we haven't had heel New Day in what 14 years.
14 years.
Um, and even then, they weren't real heels when they were heels. They were just the guys that you made fun of.
Exactly.
They weren't real heels. They were just obnoxious.
Mhm.
Now they're actual heels. They're not like in between heels or just the goofball nerds. Like oh we're cool, but we don't care if you think we're cool. They're not those guys anymore. They're actual heels right now. Like you want to dislike them even though you still like them.
Yeah.
Um, I think that they're going to be able to do something in the tag division there because the tag division has been a little bit stagnant on Raw, and so they will spice up the tag division, especially if they defend the belts. They like to they like to perform every week,
Yeah.
so they're going to be performing, and they're probably going to have a bunch of title defenses and a bunch of heelish, ways of keeping the titles for
Mhm.
quite a while. They'll probably keep them for at least 3 months, unless something else comes along that needs it. Some program needs the titles, but if a program doesn't need the titles, you got to put them on people that could go every week. no offense to Eric and Ivar, but your injuries have prevented you from being able to perform every week. So they use them sparingly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Which is fine. I'm not getting down on anybody for the injury at all. It's just that storyline wise, not seeing a title means you forget about it.
100%, hundred
You
percent.
know,
No, you're good.
even during Roman's reign when he was absent a lot,
You
you kind of
beat me
felt,
to it.
yeah, you felt
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
title was missing. You know what I mean? And you needed that title because now they're just arguing for arguing's sake. And that's not always interesting to watch.
100%. No, to your point, and actually kind of to that thing, the whole part-time issue, right? When someone's injured or when someone's doing a part-time schedule, the fans basically tune out, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the issue, right? With you see the War Raiders, to your point, I mean, no fault of their own, right? But just it's the injuries have kind of piled up and mounted, and with the New Day, obviously, they're kind of like the Seth Rollins workhorse of the tag division on Raw, right? They're in every week, week in, week out. They reinvented themselves, as like a true heel gimmick, to your point. And I think I'm primed to, I'm excited and primed to watch this, to watch this new reign and this new era of tag team wrestling, especially on the Raw brand. So definitely excited for that match too. Let's go ahead and move, let's talk about okay. So Jade Cargill versus Naomi.
Jade Cargo goes over.
Yeah, I don't know if she should though. I think
She shouldn't. Yeah, she
Naomi
shouldn't.
Naomi has had probably her best work in this feud in this run, in her heel run. I mean, she has been so believable and so visceral, in her promos,
This is the best she's been since her original Glow run
100%, 100%.
because she was undeniable in that title run.
Exactly.
And I think that she's at the opposite end of it right now. Like she's leaned into the heel character, changed up the way she talks and her cadence to make it more dastardly. She's doing more heel things and she's cementing herself as a strong character, which I like that because unfortunately with WWE and other sporting events and other things like that, everyone wants to play the shining, smiling baby face. And I think in wrestling, everyone goes out as a babyface originally. Like 99% of wrestlers start off as a babyface because two reasons. Number one, the average wrestler has worked really hard to get to where they are, and they're not necessarily into being booed.
Mhm.
It's harder to do your job when you're not used to being booed, and when you just start out, if you get booed right away, you might not know how to take that. There's very few people that can start off as heel, and I don't mean like I mean get in the business in general as a heel. There's very few people that can be heel from the beginning and gain a following, get looked at because typically the promoters look for somebody they can market, and it's not easy to market heels because nobody wants to wear the shirt of either a jerk or a loser.
Mhm.
You
That's
know,
yeah. And to your point, that's kind of the thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you're heel, you have to lose, but then it's like to your point, it's kind of nice to see the heel win, you
yeah.
know? I mean,
Yeah.
that's with Naomi to the point that we're talking about, right? Naomi would be freaking perfect to win. I mean, it just I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I, WrestleMania history would say that most of the heels don't win in WrestleMania
Hmm.
most of the time. I would think that this feud would do wonders if Jade lost for Jade and Naomi. It would further legitimize a women's division that needs stars. And the reason I say this is because, for example, Tiffany Stratton is a star.
Hmm.
Charlotte Flair is a star.
Yeah.
But because Charlotte Flair is so much of a bigger star than Tiffany Stratton, it kind of delegitimizes Tiffany Stratton a little bit. So even beating Charlotte right now technically wouldn't do that much for Tiffany.
Right. Exactly. And actually, let's talk about that. Tiffany versus Charlotte, it's two matches down, but we'll talk about who you got winning and why.
I want I would I'm going to say Charlotte Flair wins
I'm gonna say so too. Yeah.
for two reasons. Number one, Charlotte Flair wins. It immediately sends the a heel champion to the top of the card, but at the same time, it's a heel champion that has tremendous following, tremendous respect, and legitimacy. Number two, it would do so much more for Tiffany's babyface character because Tiffany dipped into her heel character for this feud and it has not worked. And WWE has tried to retcon it the last like 2.5 weeks. They tried to retcon the both of them just being heels because if you took the audience away from the promos, Tiffany looked like the heel in the promo, and Charlotte did not.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that they had in WWE internally. Is okay, well, she dove right into being a heel, which, if you remember, for most of the year, Tiffany was a heel.
Yeah.
For most of the year in NXT, she was a heel before that, and so it's a lot easier for her to go into her heel character when she's going against other wrestlers. If you watch, for example, a master at this, Triple H was a master at this. The Rock was a master at this. Stone Cold Steve Austin was a master at this. Brett is just Brett. That's just how he is. You know what I mean? Even when he was trying to be a heel, he was still just Brett. He was just mean Brett. He wasn't really a heel. There Hogan was pretty decent at it when he finally turned heel. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were probably the best at it because they just knew how to be heels.
Yeah.
You know, and even when Michaels decided that he needed to be a heel, he was an amazing heel.
Yeah.
Flair especially too. So it goes right back to that. It starts to make you question: is she really a heel because she wants what she deserves? Charlotte got injured entertaining the fans the last time she was there. She put on a hell of a match, got injured in the match, and then had to leave WWE for a while. And everyone was sad about it because they wanted her to be in WrestleMania. When she showed up at SummerSlam, people were happy. People were cheering. The problem was when Charlotte did come back finally, the fans had a champion that they liked.
Yeah.
And people liked Tiffany as champion. Tiffany's story played out very well. Nia Jax put on some of the best work of her entire career to make this happen. And that's why we haven't seen Nia, I think, is because she did such a good job in her role that she didn't need to be here. And I'm not saying that Nia won't be here because she's been very active on social media and she's probably in Las Vegas. I don't see why she wouldn't be. Um, there's a lot that's going to happen at this WrestleMania. That's a part of my predictions. But I do think that they've been trying to figure out how to elevate Tiffany's heel status, and I think the only way to do that is for her to lose. I mean, her face status, she would have to lose to get a bigger push as a face.
100%. No, it's Tiffany losing would help. And then also to the point, yeah, man. I think it's time for Charlotte to kind of, cement herself as the greatest of all the GOAT, right? For lack of a better term.
Yeah,
WOAT, right? So, that I'm aligned with you. You pretty much hit all the key points, so we can just pretty much move on to the next match. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for his title.
I think LA Knight wins, but I would be disappointed by it because I
I
want to
would
see
too.
him. I
Yeah.
want to see him in the main title picture.
Like, I would love to see LA Knight, to your point. It's kind of hard because, like, well, you don't want to take away his WrestleMania moment because this is his first WrestleMania, but you also don't want to bury Jacob. Jacob is probably the hottest commodity on both brands, honestly, in my opinion. In terms of the raw talent and just, like a superstar in the making. Jacob has it all, right? Athleticism,
Yes.
work. And, to the point, I mean, I just really think if LA wins, that's great. But if he loses in a way where it can, like, if it's dirty, let's say the bloodline interferes, and like he can find a way to get himself in the main event scene, that would be perfect.
Yeah, it's the perfect time to debut Hikuleo. Perfect time for. I don't know if Tonga Loa can come back yet, but it should be about time. It should. It I think depending on how bad the break was in Bronson Reed's ankle, he's probably ready to come back too.
Yeah. So
Um,
I guess we can see, based on,
yeah, I think that it just worked better storyline wise if LA Knight lost,
100%.
and better for him because he could immediately take over from. I see you got a nice belt over there.
Yes, sir.
I would not mind that being the first Codyless feud for the world title when
Well, there we
Cena
go.
takes it from him on Sunday.
Or should I go like this? Exactly.
Yeah, it would make a very interesting. It would be very interesting to see. 'Cause I think this is what's going to end up happening. This is just let me just we'll start it now. We'll start it now, like we always do. CM Punk either wins this match or gets screwed by Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins wins the match. Roman doesn't win tomorrow or tonight. Roman doesn't win tonight.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, let's talk right about this, the main event now, tonight. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I mean, Obviously, with the Heyman switch, right? And with the Seth also kind of making interesting with saying that he's also owed a favor. And then, then Seth confronting Roman saying Paul Heyman's a scumbag, and then Roman attacking Seth, and then basically then attacking Heyman, and CM Punk comes out, and then Seth was, the show ended on Raw, with Seth saying over both of them. I don't think Seth is going to win. I mean, even though his promo was very true in terms of kind of, it can't be you because, you're a part-timer, he said to Roman. And he said it can't be CM Punk because of, what he represents, leaving, coming back, and like, beating off of others' hard work. That was kind of a shoot almost when he said that, leaving for 10 years and, people like Seth being the workhorse is working, kind of what we talked about earlier about part-time champions, right? So I don't know. I don't know.
Brock Lesnar returns, screws Roman and CM
Oh
Punk,
my God.
and then puts Seth Rollins on top of both of them, and Seth walks away with the victory.
It's incredible. That's incredible.
I would love to watch CM Punk walk away because I think that he needs to be in the main event scene and not just in these little feuds that he's been in for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
Because he had the Seth Rollins feud first, then the long Drew McIntyre feud, then another Seth Rollins feud, and then I think for a couple of weeks he was feuding with like Imperium. So he needs to be back into that main title picture, and I think that the way to do that is, like I said, I don't think that Jey Uso needs anything more than a 3 month run, even if I think that he could hold that title for a while, but I don't think he needs more than a 3 month run. The problem with being insanely popular is that you don't need the title at all. The difference between a Jey Uso run and a Roman Reigns needing the title run is Roman's whole character was based around the fact that he had the title
Exactly. And
and the fact that he was that guy. Roman Reigns was based around that. Jey Uso doesn't have to be based around that and still be looked at as a legitimate threat to take any title in the business.
100%. I was gonna say to your point, it's with Jay, kind of being the, the new kind of hot commodity of main event, Jey Uso, kind of what I would foresee would be not necessarily Jay versus Seth, but I could see Jay versus Punk,
Yeah,
maybe
all day long.
all day
Even if
long.
it's even if it's not a heel versus face feud, it could be a legitimate build up to. I hope not as soon as Backlash, but it could be a build up of, hey, I won this match. I beat the top guys. I'm coming for that title now, and this is no animosity lost. It's a battle amongst friends. Punk takes it off of him. They hug in the middle of the ring. Punk holds it for a couple of months. Jay takes it back at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's simple. Because once you establish that, you've already had the credibility of Jey Uso with a 3 month to 6 month title reign. You have the, obviously, yeah, to your point, obviously there's so many different ways you can go about it. Jay is so immensely popular, right? And you said it's a problem. It's actually not a problem, in my opinion. I think that's actually a blessing. I guess you could say it's a blessing and a curse. When you're so
Yes,
immensely
the blessing and
popular,
the curse.
like Undertaker said on the Broken Skull sessions, right? He's like some guys don't need the belt, but it helps some guys. Like it elevates guys, it helps their character. Like to your point about Roman, right? Whole character being built around the belt, right? Totally, totally, totally 100% accurate. And so yeah, Jey Uso is just he's based on being popular, selling merch, having the belt will just cement him and as kind of just be his crowning moment. And then obviously 1 or 2, 3 months, drop it, and then just continue.
Your first title run with the main title is extremely important because one of two things will happen. You'll either have to go the Roman route and the Cena route of you won your first title, but nobody wants you to have it, or you won your first title and you're automatically cemented as one of the best to ever do it. So once again, you don't need the title because every match you're in now is a main event match. For example, CM Punk is one of those guys. You're gonna watch CM Punk's matches, even if it's not for a championship.
100%.
More so than even Seth. You know what I mean? Seth is great matches, but you're gonna want to watch CM Punk more because you know this has implications for the future. Sometimes Seth has throwaway matches, which is the downside of being a workhorse. Um, Michaels. Michaels found out that he did not need the title. That no matter what he did, with or without the title, everyone was watching, everyone wanted more. Taker found out that he also did not need the title. And the only reason why you put it on him is for storyline purposes. Mick Foley did not need the title. The Rock did not need the title. Stone Cold no longer needed the title. If you look at Stone Cold's runs, some of his runs were only a week long, sometimes not even.
Yeah,
You know, like I said, the most complicated wrestler was probably Brett because his push was weird in a way because he couldn't be a heel, but at the same time, in many areas, he couldn't be a face. And if he didn't have the title, you're wondering what he's doing without it. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So you don't really want to get in that situation. And I think Roman is like teetering on that. I think Cody is teetering on that too. Is what are you going to do without the title? Well, that's who you are. You're the main event. Like you're the title guy. Hogan
Exactly.
was definitely that guy, and I don't think Hogan ever got out of being the guy that needed to have the title. Like, yeah, he was Hulk Hogan, but like he absolutely needed the title. He absolutely needed it.
100%. So are we gonna stop it here? You want preview night two?
We can do night two, yeah, because
All
we
right,
don't have
let's go
time for it
ahead.
tomorrow.
Start from the top. Io Sky versus Bianca versus Rhea.
Bianca takes it home.
Me too. Liv, Raquel versus Bailey and Vlad Victoria for the women's tag team title.
Live and Raquel take that.
Yep, Liv and Raquel. All right. AJ versus AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
I think AJ Styles goes home with a victory.
I think so too. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio in a fatal four-way for the IC championship.
Dom Mysterio.
Yep, let's go Dom. Well, I think Penta because I think it's his time. You know,
You
Damian
could do a
Priest.
lot. You could do a lot with the story if Penta doesn't win and Dom wins. If Dom wins, you could do a lot with that story.
It'd be interesting. It could be kind of like a nation of domination where Dom turns a heel or Dom turns on face and takes over.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, then also Dom's face turn.
yeah, exactly. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Sin City Street Fight.
Damien's winning.
Randy Orton versus to be announced. Open challenge.
Randy Orton versus Nick Aldis or Rusev.
Rusev. I think Rusev. I want Rusev. I want Rusev. I hope it's Rusev. And last but not least, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE
This
Championship.
John Cena wins, but not without a lot of fuckery.
Exactly. John Cena wins, but The Rock comes in and steps in, and we have a new champion, which will be this man right here. The time is now.
I think
Oh,
Stone
yeah.
Cold's going to be there too.
Who's gonna be there?
I think Stone Cold Steve Austin does something.
I think The Rock
Um,
does something. I think Stone Cold does something, but then I think somehow, some way, John Cena comes out on top
I
to
mean, you
kind
might
of
even see the Undertaker get involved.
to kind of give something for the fans to kind of make them chew on.
A real swerve would be Ric Flair getting involved.
Yeah, but Ric Flair needs to interfere on the behalf of Cena.
Yeah, he would
Oh
Ric
no, but
Flair
he
would
wouldn't.
interfere.
Ric Flair would obviously be interfering on behalf of Cody. So
Yeah,
because he wouldn't want his record broken. But
yeah, like he would interfere. Like there's going to be a bunch of interference in the match. Like this is not going to be a clean match with John Cena and Cody. There's nothing clean about it. We might even get a false finish, like a finish and then restart the match type thing.
I'm excited.
Like there's a lot that could happen with this. Um, there's a lot that could go on with Randy. There's a lot that could go on with a lot of these matches, especially the triple threats that have been added. The SmackDown titles, that's going to be crazy. The TLC match. So I guess we could talk about this. We talked about it in our thing. So I'll run that down. Number one, LA Knight probably gave his best promo that he's done in months, if not
Hmm.
years. Um, yeah, I'd say this is LA Knight's best promo in months, man. He was on point. I liked Solo's path back to being relevant again because he was irrelevant for a couple of months there. Um, I'm a firm believer in bringing characters back into relevance in creative ways, and I think they've done that with Solo's character, where like you don't get the sense that like him and Jacob are actually going to fight, but at the same time you understand that like they have like a survival struggle right now. You know what I mean? It's like our family is teetering on the edge because we don't have a single title. As many of us as in here, we don't have a single title, and they've even teased other bloodline issues. You know, Jay Uso letting them know. I'll slap you, cousin type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think that's his first cousin. That's not these are not situations where these guys are distantly related. No, they're first cousins. All of them are first cousins.
Yes,
Like they
sir.
literally all grew up together. Zilla Fatu has been missing from the indie scene for the last 2 months. Zilla's been missing for the last 2 months. You guys know that's Jacob's brother and Umaga's other son. Um, it starts to get really interesting when you start to throw. There's going to be way more bloodline stuff that's not even done yet. Roman's not done with the bloodline. The original bloodline's not done with the bloodline. They're just basing their own stories. Um, Gunther keeps mentioning bathing in Jimmy's blood. Jimmy's going to come back and do something to help Jay. I really do think that. I just don't think. I think Kaiser gets involved. He doesn't have a match. He didn't win the Iron Man Battle Royal, the Andrew the Giant Battle Royal. Kaiser comes back and tries to help Gunther, and Jimmy comes back and beats the hell out of Kaiser. Gunther probably tries to take aim at Jimmy, and Jay gets the strength to fight him off this time and right that wrong. And they celebrate in the middle of the ring. Sammy probably comes out and hugs Jay. Um, I mean, we're gonna find out in about an hour, so hour and a half. Because that'll probably be the end of the first match. It's probably like 5:30. Um, they're gonna open the show. They're gonna open WrestleMania. They're gonna blow the roof off the house. And I think that the Jade and Naomi match is gonna suffer tonight because I think that Jay's match is gonna take a lot of energy out of everyone. It's gonna feel like the main event, and I hope that the main event is as good as the match that's going to happen with Jey Uso and Gunther. I don't think they're going to lay an egg. I don't think Gunther's ever had a bad match. Have you ever seen him with a bad match? I don't think I have. I
No,
don't think
no, he
he's.
absolutely has not. He's been the class of the WWE, both in the mid card and now his world
Yeah,
title.
I watched
Dominating.
uh, I watched NXT UK because he was so good.
He's just dominating. So yeah, no, I it's gonna take a miracle for Jay to win, but hopefully he can do it. And man, we'll fucking see. So, anyways, yeah, no, I'm excited to see how it all shapes out. But anyways, y'all, I think that's gonna wrap for our picks.
I got
Any
one question for you.
Go ahead.
So, what surprise do you think we're going to get that hasn't been announced?
Well, he already alluded to Rusev. He's obviously back. So I think that's going to be a great kind of thing. He comes back and is Randy's opponent or what have you. I think, gosh, let me think.
Well, I'll tell you a secret that I know because I know people that are at WrestleMania. And last night on Fremont Street, which is everybody knows is Fresh Fridays on Fremont Street and in Las Vegas, and Living Color performed
Oh wow,
on Fremont Street. And In Living Color is also the
the
band that
cult
did,
of personality.
yeah, One Bill Phil. They did
Yeah,
One Bill Phil's theme song. So I would think that In Living Color was going to perform on for CM Punk's entrance.
that'd be nice.
That would be really cool. Um, do you think Stephanie opens WrestleMania?
Stephanie, maybe. I mean, I would say Triple H probably most likely, but yeah, I mean, it could go either way. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, to your point,
I
there are
think if
so
if Stephanie opens night one, then Triple H will open night two.
right. It's gonna be one or the other. So I'm excited. To your point, I don't know. To your question, like what they haven't announced because there's so many things that can happen,
I mean,
right?
it's crazy because Stone Cold's there, Bret Hart's there. There are a lot of people that are there that we're not expecting to see. The entire clique is there.
Yeah, the entire everybody's
Um,
there. Everybody's there, man.
like
It's
everyone's
Vegas. I
there.
mean, you got to be there.
This is probably I think this is the biggest WrestleMania we've ever seen.
Absolutely. And I mean,
It's in
it
Allegiant
sounds
Stadium.
cliche. Good.
It's in Allegiant Stadium, and I am actually a fan of them doing it in a dome. Because a dome that big that can hold that many people, I'm actually a huge fan of them doing it in a dome that big. Because we're not going to have weather issues like we've had at some WrestleManias. Like Philadelphia's WrestleMania was freezing, and so I felt like some of the matches did suffer because of the cold. Because the wrestlers have to maintain their look. So if you don't wrestle with the shirt on, you're not wrestling with the shirt on just because it's 30 degrees outside.
100%. No, I agree. I agree. I think, it's going to be interesting to see how it shapes out. And I'm looking forward to seeing, what surprises they have because it could go so many different ways, like you said. And Vegas, like, you've obviously played there. You and I were there. I went to go watch you play 6 years ago, with Team USA. Obviously now you're with USA International at Revo. So, obviously, I mean, like, my boy right here, 40-0, I think it was final score, that they against the Desert Valley team. So
Oh, we
again,
whooped them. Yeah, we
you whooped
whooped
their
them.
ass, I mean, so Vegas is where the magic happens. I was in Vegas last year for this game, right here. So, I mean, Vegas is Sin City. I mean, you go there for, the biggest kind of,
There's not really many better places to play a game at.
yeah,
Play a sporting event in general. There's not many places better to play at than
in
Vegas,
Las
and
Vegas, Nevada.
I think that's why they're getting so many teams. But that's for another show, guys. You're gonna have to watch the other shows for all that sports stuff. We got a bunch coming up soon. NFL draft is around the corner.
Yes, sir. 1 week away.
WNBA draft just happened.
Yes, it did.
We'll get into all that. But right now, and this weekend, all the way up until Monday, is dedicated to one sport and one sport alone, and that is the wide world of professional wrestling. And it's the penultimate step in the moment of all wrestlers' hearts is to watch WrestleMania. Everyone from every company will be watching, regardless of what they tell you on television. It's
The gr
WrestleMania.
the granddaddy of them all, folks. We got WrestleMania on the cards. We have a great card tonight and tomorrow. So we will obviously watch and we will be back with our reaction for the fall WrestleMania on Monday. Anyways, you already know what time it is. DDOG Podcast. Subscribe, follow, share, Spotify, YouTube, my boy Soul Reaper 24 on IG. X, you already know where to reach us. You already know how we're doing. Thank you once again for all those likes and subscribers. Now we reached, I believe, 160 subscribers. So I think over 15 in the last month. Appreciate y'all. And we'll keep it going.
Love y'all.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Thank you once again. And the granddaddy of them all is now upon us, and we will be back on Monday with our reactions. God bless.